I actually don't know what the ruling is for things like Gruul Turf against Blood Sun. But you know what? Let's find out now. Gruul Turf. Woo! We got Into the Battlefield, untapped, free, double mana lands. Wow. That was amazingly fun. That was awesome. Hello and welcome, everybody. We are here with what I am now calling Red Amulet, because last time we played a league with Blue-Red Kiki, I said that perhaps Valakut Awakening is a card that could be played in Amulet. Obviously, there are draws you can have with Amulet where you just need a bounce land or you just need a Titan, and maybe by casting a Valakut Awakening, you can always have your Primeval Titan when you need it. Maybe you can always have the bounce land that you're looking for, or find the Dryad that you need to close out the game. We'll see. And of course, we're doing the only logical thing, which is taking that idea and forcing it to its extreme conclusion. Today, we are playing 4 Valakut Awakenings in our Amulet deck. We're splashing red for Fire Spout in the sideboard, because who doesn't love some Fire Spouts? And we're also playing Boros Garrison, the Slayer Stronghold, and the Sunhome. So for those of you who have not been following Amulet content for a very long time, the old tech for hasting your Titan was Slayer Stronghold, where you would get your Boros Garrison, float your red and white, and give your Titan +2/+0 Vigilance and Haste. And then from there, if you had the ability, you could further go to give your Titan Double Strike with Sunhome. Of course, this fell out of favor with the advent of Dryad of the Elysian Grove, because now you can just grab Valakut and Hanweir Battlements in order to haste your Titan and not have to pick up a land and set up for Valakut kills with Dryad. And of course, there's some amount of that that's still possible. For example, if we have Titan plus a Dryad, we can get Crumbling Vestige and Slayer Stronghold, float a red and a white from the Crumbling Vestige, one from tapping it, because the Dryad allows it to tap for any color of mana, and the other color from the Vestige entering the battlefield. Haste your Titan and not have to pick up a land off the Stronghold, and then get double Valakut on the attack, and that's a pretty similar exchange. But here, this is mainly just an excuse to play a additional red source here, as we've cut the what would have been the Golgari Rot farm in a normal list of mine for a red land. And let's be honest, who doesn't love some Slayer Stronghold and Sunhome? If we ever get double Amulet out, then we'll see the strength of this, as many turn 2 kills are possible. I don't know about many, but there are turn 2 kills that are possible with Slayer Stronghold and Sunhome, double Amulet, Azusa, bounce land, that kind of thing. And one of the best parts about Valakut Awakening is that if you can't cast it, you can always just play it as a land. So even if we aren't fixed for red and can't cast our Awakening, at least we can use it to make land drops towards getting Dryad plus Valakut online, something along those lines. Maybe we could float mana from it and then pick it up with a bounce land and cast it then that way. I could see that happening. But anyways, yeah, we've cut some of the blue cards in order to make room for our red cards. We are no longer playing any copies of Pact of Negation, and the negates that were once in my sideboard now are Veil of Summers. Not a card that I generally like to play in Amulet, but we'll see how it performs here. And yeah, I really hope that we can Fire Spout some mono-white Taxes opponents and say, we don't care about your dumb Leonin Arbiters, get those off the battlefield, we're ready to play some unfair Magic. And yeah, that's the goal. We do still have a billion copies of Engineered Explosives to deal with those Death Shadow decks and whatnot. Otherwise, we're just doing the Titan things. There is an argument for including some spicy one-ofs with Valakut Awakening, maybe like a Dragon Lord, a Tarka, or like maybe even like one Tireless Tracker or something in the main board, so that if your Titan gets like Surgicaled or something, or if you have Ashiok on the opponent's side of the battlefield, you have something to look for that'll help you dig out from under it, as Valakut Awakening will help you get towards those spicy one-ofs. And that also works doubly the same when you're playing as many cards like Sunhome, Slayer Stronghold, Ghost Quarter, Vesuva, the types of lands that you don't necessarily want in your opening hand or in your hand at all. You can just put them right back with Valakut Awakening and get some fresh new cards instead. So anyways, that's way too much talking for the introduction. I will see you guys in the games. Well, the league ends in 2 weeks, as you can see down here, and we're currently at 2 trophies. I plan to catch up to this 39 trophies over here by Hugo Freitas before the end of these 2 weeks, obviously. It's a very reasonable thing to do. Also, I do want to make a shout out to Danilo Rubino. I did consider briefly putting some Simian Spirit Guides in this deck list, as you can also just put the Simian Spirit Guides themselves back with Valakut Awakening, but I decided there wasn't anything I really wanted to cut. I'm too much of a sucker for Explorer to try to trim any more on Explorer. It already pains me to be playing 3 instead of 4. So, I don't know. Let me know if you think that that Simian Spirit Guide makes sense in this list, and let me know what you would cut. We're already down to 3 copies of Castle Garenbrig as well, so there's the cards that I would typically consider cutting are already, they've already been cut. So, anyways, all right, we have our first match. Let's see if we ever get a window to cast our Valakut Awakening. I'm a little afraid that we will not be able to do that. We won't have enough time. Of course, we do have the Awakening here in our opener. Yeah, this is a keep. I anticipate using Awakening to try to dig for a 3-drop or a Titan or something. Sacred Foundry, huh? Tapped makes me think that this is more likely to be a Ponza deck of some sort, like a red-white Nahiri Boom deck. It's kind of upsetting, but that's okay. We'll play our Amulet, pass it back. I guess it could also be a Jeskai control deck. Oh, there we go. There's the Force Pitching Shark Typhoon. Well, I dare say Valakut Awakening would be pretty good here. Our opponent could be playing mainboard Cleansing Wildfires, in which case I really don't want to get our only red source for this Awakening blown up. Alright, I guess we're playing the Talari West because I'm a coward. Pass it back. Cycle Shark Typhoon for 0. Well, we're really glad that our opponent is wasting their Shark Typhoons like this instead of using them to put a clock on us. It's a lot of Shark Typhoons, though, for a Spirebluff Canal deck. We do see Flagstones, so there definitely is Cleansing Wildfire in our opponent's deck. Let's see if they fire it off on this Flagstones. Blood Sun. All lands lose all abilities except mana abilities. Interesting. I don't know if that means we have to pick up a land to our Gruul Turfs and Growth Chambers or not. They still tap for 2 mana, but I don't know. That's weird. Do they still enter tapped? This is confusing. I actually don't know what the ruling is for things like Gruul Turf against Blood Sun. I know that Tron lands are completely unaffected by Blood Sun. But you know what? Let's find out now. Gruul Turf. Woo! We got Into the Battlefield, untapped, free, double mana lands. Wow. We're very close to just casting Titan this turn. Let's see. If we were to play an Azusa, we'd have Growth Chamber, and still be 1 short, sadly. Oh, that's so close. All right, let's Grazer in a Growth Chamber, I suppose. Oh, the Grazer still forces it to enter tapped. Okay, well, now we can cast Valakut Awakening on our opponent's instep here. Yeah, there's nothing we could have done to activate Garenbrig here or anything. That's what I was trying to check for. All right, well, we have Titan mana. That's pretty cool. I suppose this means we won't be able to haste our Titan, though, and I don't think our Valakut will give us any damage triggers. So that's kind of awkward. Another Blood Sun. All right. All right, let's go to our opponent's instep, I suppose. And we will cast this Valakut Awakening. Put back the 2 lands. Don't think we need them. Alright, 3 fresh cards off the top. More lands. I mean, we are playing Amulet, so what else can you really expect? There's a Dryad. Okay, so we can play Dryad into Gruul Turf, another land, and then be able to cast our Primeval Titan. Seems pretty good. Again, I don't really know exactly how we're winning here. I guess Titan just being a 6/6 Trampler is supposedly good enough. I'm kind of tempted to get a Valakut here just to see if it worked. That might be worth it. Can we name Titan with Cavern of Souls with Blood Sun out? I'm not really sure. Can we exile their yard with Bojuka Bog? I don't know the answer to these questions. I think we cannot. Alright, I'm gonna get Cavern of Souls and Valakut just to see what's up, I think. Okay, no Valakut triggers. Cannot name anything with Cavern of Souls. Interesting. No reason to swing with the Grazer for the meme of it. We'll just pass it back. So I guess Dryad is not very good against Blood Sun, then. Bolt Dryad, sure. I like how immediately as I'm saying Dryad is not very good, our opponent is trying to take care of this Dryad rather than our Titan. They must have a path to exile, I suppose. Let's not lose the game. I guess we don't want to tap our blue, though, so we could potentially transmute Tolaria West if that still works. Don't know that it does. And our opponent concedes. Okay, well, I guess they should have gone after the Titan. That was just very unusual. Alright, so we want Force. We want Beast Withins and Rex Sages for sure. These Blood Suns help us, but we also need to get rid of them eventually. Veil of Summer against Counter Magic seems pretty good. What else? What else? We want Relics. Our opponent most likely is not playing Mystic Sanctuary and that kind of deck, and we know they're not playing Uro because they don't have green lands. So I guess that's a no on the Relics. Alright, Grazers can go, although they're kind of lit when they just put bounce lands in untap. Well, I guess it's not untap, but bounce lands in for free against Blood Sun. That's kind of awesome, but Valakut Awakening looking pretty impressive there also. Let's see. Is there any lands that we want to cut? I'm thinking probably not. Get rid of the explosives. What else? Could trim an Amulet. I don't know if I'm a fan of that. Could trim Summoner's Pact in case our opponent has Ashiok, especially since we can go searching for Titan with Valakut, so. Very interesting and dynamic game one here. Or match one, I should say. I gotta tell my opponent. I told them this whole Blood Sun thing is wild. Let's see if they agree. We have a hand with Valakut Awakening. I don't know, is that good enough for me? It might be. We got a turn to explore? Heck yeah. And once we get our Cavern naming Giant, I think it still works? I don't know. I don't know, guys. Alright, let's get this Stomping Ground out untapped, I suppose. Might as well hold up Veil, although I don't know if it matters. Our life total just doesn't matter at all in these, in these games, so no reason not to just pay the 2 life. Here comes the Cleansing Wildfire on their own flagstones, I'm sure. Alright. We'll just yield through the turn. No big deal. We'll definitely explore this upcoming turn. Bog away our opponent's Wildfire while we can, before the Blood Sun comes into play. Amulet. Amulet, you say? Alright, let's get this Cavern out, naming Giant. Don't know if that will persist once a Blood Sun hits play, but we'll find out together. This is a learning video, apparently. And here goes the Bojuka Bog. Get out of here. We don't like you, opponent's graveyard. Never did. Pass it back. Maybe they'll play a Blood Sun and then we'll top deck a bounce land immediately after. That would be pretty good. If we don't top deck a land, we could always just hard cast Valakut Awakening trying to find some additional lands here. Dropping the Azusa, maybe. I mean, to be honest, we kind of want all the cards in our hand, though. Maybe we don't need the Amulet. Is that crazy? We'll see what we draw. Lotus Field. Just played, so they have to sacrifice 2 lands here. That one's just a regular, normal old Lotus Field. Of course, that's why our opponent is playing Blood Sun. Can we Vesuva copying their Lotus Field once they play a Blood Sun? I'm having way too much fun in this match. Let's see. If we play Amulet, Vesuva copying the Lotus Field, float 5 mana. I guess we could Valakut Awakening trying to find 2 bounce lands to play with Azusa. After we play it, we'd have 2 mana floating. Or a bounce land. A single bounce land lets us cast Titan here. But we'd have to sacrifice 2 lands to the Vesuva. Although we'll have hexproof, so our opponent can't just, like, get us with, effects. Weird. Oh, no, but if we cast Valakut Awakening, we won't actually have any mana floating, so we can't Titan this turn off of Valakut Awakening. We can play Amulet and then go for the Titan this upcoming turn with the Lotus Field. We can play Amulet and Dryad. And then next turn go for a Vesuva copying Lotus Field Titan. That could be interesting. All right, here's the Amulet. Opponent says, Blood Sun helps you, I think. I honestly do not know. I'm a little reticent to play out this Valakut Awakening as a land, because if our opponent does have Blood Sun, which it's kind of seeming like they might have sided it out if they think it helps us, that would make sense. But if they do have Blood Sun, then we may not ever be able to pick this Valakut Awakening back up. You know what? I'm willing to risk it, though. I think it's important to get some land drop advancements here. And we'll play the Dryad as they only have 1 mana up to interact. Yeah, I think we have to wait on the Vesuva. It means we're not holding up Veil, but that's fine. We can always Veil through Titan this upcoming turn. And now we gotta figure out what we're sacrificing to our Lotus Field. We can sacrifice the Bog, maybe, and the Stomping Ground, keeping the Cavern in case the uncounterableness for Giant stays after the Blood Sun. That would make sense to me, but I don't know if it loses the fact that the chosen card was Giant, or not the card, the chosen creature type was Giant, so we'll see. I gotta tell my opponent, I don't even know how these lands work with Blood Sun. Alright, well, our opponent is passing it back. Forest. Okay. We can play Forest into Vesuva, so we can sacrifice Forest and Bajuka Bog and keep our Stomping Ground in play. And then we still have 1 remaining land drop after. I'm pretty okay with that. For a second, I was like super concerned because I was afraid that we actually couldn't copy Lotus Field because it was hexproof, but then I realized that it enters as a copy. It doesn't actually target Lotus Field, so that's why we could do this. You know, I actually thought for a brief moment about including 1 or 2 Lotus Fields in an Amulet deck just so we could use Titan to chain into more Titans. But ultimately I decided not to because Lotus Field is a 5-tick card and it's just a kind of a meme in my mind, so like, I didn't know if it would be worth it. Alright, let's float with the Bog. Let's float with the Forest that we know we're going to sacrifice and the uncounterable mana from the Cavern. And then we'll sacrifice the Bog and the Snow-Covered Forest. I mean, come on, though. Lotus Field is pretty awesome with Amulet, isn't it? You just have to agree to that, right? Bog, Forest. Alright, here comes Titan. Now, we have to be careful about Path to Exile because we can't just go straight for the haste here, necessarily. I mean, I suppose we could get Valakut and the Slayer Stronghold, and even if they Path to Titan, we still get triggers from our Dryad. Interesting. We'll think about it. I believe the safest thing to do here would be to get Valakut and a bounce land, actually. That way we have guaranteed replays of our bounce land for purposes of either picking up Valakut and trying to find another Titan if our Titan gets answered, or doing damage to our opponent with Valakut triggers with Dryad, so I don't know, it's kind of weird. I am gonna go with the bounce land, I think. We might be missing a huge opportunity, but that's okay. Alright, let's stack the Growth Chamber and the Valakut save targets for now, I suppose. And these Amulet triggers. Probably don't want to save targets the Valakut. Let me get rid of that. Never mind. I wonder if there's a way to undo the save targets. What's our opponent got? Cryptic to bounce draw the Dryad. Opponent, We have our own 1-mana cryptic command. Too good. Too good. And we win the match. Well, I have to say, that was amazingly fun. That was awesome. That was so cool. And yeah. Let me know if you guys learned something or got some entertainment, enjoyment from this match. And I cannot wait to play the next one. This is Red Face Business, signing off.